Right, welcome back, and now it's time for that big discussion. We're talking all about CBC. Although competence-based curriculum was meant, of course, to bridge the inequality gap witnessed in the education sector, replacing old system of 844 and replacing it with CBC. Many termed it as a game changer. However, 1 month down the line after the enrollment of the first class of junior secondary school, confusion continued to rock the enrollment of the CBC, with learning yet to take off properly in some of the learning institutions in the country. And now joining us in the discussion is Solomon Munene, the National Vice Chairperson, Kenya Private Schools Association, and Dr. Ephantus Kaugi, Education Management and Policy Curriculum Studies expert. Of course, let me start with you, Munene. Was the transition properly, of course, implemented?
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me here.
All right.
I'm grateful for the transition and how it was effected. I would say that it wasn't very, very effectively done.
All right.
Because I don't think that institutions were very ready for a takeoff. But sometimes it is said that you just get started. Sometimes you can get it along the way. Because sometimes they say perfect times never comes.
Right.
We can still be able to adjust and carry on. So that's what I would say for now.
All right.
Yes.
Before I come to you, Daktari, but let me, the whole issue of course engagement, coming before formulating the policies, was the private school, of course, engaged properly in the process making?
I would say that private schools, most of the times, we engage at the implementation level.
Right.
And it is our prayer that we can also be involved at formulation level.
All right.
Because I think we are talking about a case of knowing the end from the beginning, right. Because CBC has got, for instance, additional infrastructure required, including the science laboratories. So if the institutions and stakeholders would know the whole picture from the word go, we'll be able now to prepare early enough. Okay. But as it is for now, sometimes we get to know things at that particular point of time, and of course there are challenges in implementing some of those projects.
All right, hold on to that thought of challenges. Yeah. Now, Daktari, did you have a false start to this CBC?
Yes, come up again, please.
Did you have a false start? It was implemented. It was supposed to be a game changer. Now it is 1 month down the line. Of course, there is some few disparity between some learners. In your own opinion, do you think we had a false start in this whole issue of CBC?
Yes and no.
All right.
I'm saying yes because for us to be able to have the curriculum reform succeed, everything needs to be put in place at the right time. CBC was introduced in this country in 2017 and 2018 when we had the pilot of the curriculum done. And so from that particular time, it has been moving from one level to the other systematically, meaning that things are supposed to be put in place in terms of training of teachers, preparing of teaching learning materials, and the infrastructure, as the chair is saying, so that now everybody is ready. And because CBC is also involving parents, they're also supposed to be involved in terms of even being trained to know exactly what they were supposed to do all the way through. Now come to grade 6, where they were to do the CAPSA exam and train to proceed to grade 7, the necessary infrastructure needed to be put in place. Efforts were done to prepare the curriculum, efforts were done to do the books, but the infrastructure was not put in place. Right. That's why I'm saying yes and no. But there was the goodwill to do it, but things were not put in place at the right time for us to succeed.
All right.
Yes.
It has taken quite a journey from 2017 all the way now. We are in 2023. And of
Yes.
course, the first class, the first enrollment, of course, we just saw the grade 6 now joining the junior secondary school. From that time up to now, of course, we were waiting to see how it will work out, the implementation of it. Until now, there is some, of course, gray areas that need to be addressed. One of them, pupil to teacher ratio. There is infrastructure, one of them, of course, and so many capitation. Do you think what could have derailed this effort before from 2017 until now? Do you still need enough time for this?
I would want to say that implementation of a reform is a process,
All right.
because we are talking of a cohort moving systematically from one year to the other. What we need to ask ourselves is, if we were to go to preschool right now, or to the primary school, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, would we witness improvement from what was there in 2018? Because there's a new cohort in grade 3, there's a new cohort in grade 4. So are we likely to see improvement? And my answer is yes, because in 2018, 2019, majority of the teachers are not being trained. By now, some of those teachers are being trained. So in some areas, you can see something positive. There were gaps in terms of a number of other areas which the government has been trying to address. I'm not speaking for the government. Mm-hmm. But as we move now to the subsequent level, like now, grade 6 to grade 7, we see gaps. But I would want to mention this, as I said at the beginning, reforms have challenges. 84 when it came, it also had almost the same unique challenges at the very beginning. And these challenges are the ones that we need to address immediately, because you see, right now, where we are, we cannot go back, because the runners in grade 7, they don't know anything about 84. Actually, you can hear debate there, can we go back to 84? You cannot, because these learners are different. And remember, it is important for us, as we are talking about the CBC, to ask ourselves, actually, what is this CBC? Because like we are saying, competence-based curriculum is a curriculum which is very different from the 84. 84, the teachers dominated class. And basically, after that, what were you seeing? Students were basically being prepared to do exams.
Right.
CBC is focusing on, number one, developing learners' competencies, identifying the individual talents of those learners, getting away of developing those particular talents, so that the learners now can be able to succeed in life. And that is why teacher training becomes very critical, because the approach is different from the one for the 84. And because the approach is different, then the teachers will require adequate training. Otherwise, they might end up training the way they were trained.
All right, Mnene, must it get, worse before it gets better?
Thank you. I would join with the Daktari by saying that the curriculum reforms and implementation is a process.
Right.
And I would ask to encourage all of us not to give up on the new curriculum. And for us to be able to succeed in this new curriculum, as Dr. has pointed out, we must first understand what is this CBC. We are coming from the knowledge-based curriculum. 844 is a structure that implements the knowledge-based curriculum, which is exam-oriented. Learners are supposed to cram notes, and then they are supposed to give an exam that will determine their next phase of learning. Next stage of learning. Now, the CBC is, as Dr. has said, it is different. Mm-hmm. The concept is different. It is where we want to acknowledge that every child is gifted differently. And therefore, the competence in every child is unique. 844 is saying all your competencies are the same, which is not true. Therefore, it will take all the stakeholders, including you, the media, right, the members of the public, to understand this curriculum and support it. When during the early years, maybe when this country was very young at independence, I believe there were so many. I think that Tari can tell us more about that. There were a lot of white collar jobs available.
Sure.
You could be able to become a teacher, so many jobs out there,
Sure.
an accountant. I mean, the jobs were available. But after a after the pass of time, those white collar jobs are no longer available. So do we still hold on to a system of education that is training the graduate to go and look for white collar jobs, or to go and create one job? And this is why you are saying that the CBC is skill based, and it is training children the right knowledge and attitudes and skills. That's why we are. So to expect it to be perfect, even today, the 844 is not perfect. As we talk, how many years now? It's 1985.
Over 35 years.
More than 5 years. It is
Right.
still having gaps. So let's support this new curriculum. But we talk about challenges. They are there. Yes.
Yeah.
And even as we talk today, there is issues of teachers' availability on certain subjects, like the pre-technical subjects, like the French, the other languages like French, German, foreign languages, computer sciences, visual art, performing art. All those are subjects that are supposed to be taught in the secondary school. But what we are saying is this: if I'm a teacher and I've been trained to teach business studies and geography at the university here by Daktari, and I've got some knowledge about performing arts or visual arts, it is possible for me, before I get the teachers from the colleges who have done performing art, visual art, to be able to interact with those. There's always that transition time.
All right.
So I tend to think we can support this new curriculum, but the best thing is to give it time, give it support, and understand the concepts behind it.
All right. Actually, and this is from the point of view from most Kenyans, they are concerned about the inequality between, the learners from, let's say, urban and rural. Of course, there's supposed to be the distribution of textbook, of course, capitation, all that. But in majority of public primary schools, you'll find learners, some of them, they have not, the learning has not fully resumed, unlike the other parts of the country, like, say, in urban centers like Nairobi. There is that sharp disparity, and that begs the question of equality. If one section of the learners are learning and others are not learning, then where does equality comes in this CBC? In as much as, we say we'll have to give it time, but until when?
Thank you very much. You are right. We talk about equality because I don't know whether they talk about equity or equality. All of them together. Mm-hmm. But I know and I appreciate what you're talking about, because education, part of the education must be accessible to the learners, but foremost accessibility to the learners, so that you can be able to achieve the requirement of the Constitution, which provides that education is a right to every Kenyan child. This child must get education. So the access to education, and once the child is now in the school, you're asking, yes, they're in school, are they receiving the same lessons, teaching? It's going the same way in all institutions. And I think that is where we are. And for me, it is a challenge that can be addressed. Mm-hmm. Because first and foremost, CBC is looking at improvising the learning materials.
All right.
It is not going to get the materials, like the learning materials, from the shops. So what we need to do is we change our attitude. Yes, there is a lot of resources required and facilities, extra facilities. But then we ask ourselves, what do we have at the moment?
All right.
You get the point, eh?
Yeah.
So that from there we start. But also we accept that if it is like the public institutions, I'm not talking about the public institutions, but they are part of us.
All right.
The government must come out very clearly and try to invest in those in the facilities required,
all right,
so that those children also they can be able to receive the education just like other institutions we have in the country.
All right. Dr. Let me get your thought on how we can bridge the inequality gap that you are witnessing right now.
Between public and private.
Between some schools in urban and rural, of course. We have seen schools that some schools are advantaged, some are disadvantaged.
Okay, I would want to believe that I want to agree with the chair with what he has said.
All right.
But it is also important to note some urban schools may seem to be at an advantage, but with a competence-based curriculum, the rural schools may even be more advantaged.
Okay.
Because, number one, for the public schools, they have one big advantage, the quality of teachers.
Okay.
Government is good at training its staff. So by the time they are through with sorting out the issue of staffing, they'll be having a pool of very high quality teachers. And teachers are the ones who interpret the curriculum, and they're the ones who teach the curriculum. And that's what happened in 1844.
Okay.
So with that advantage, when it comes to identify learners' potential, the rural schools are at an advantage because most of the activities which need to be hands-on, the resources are easier to find in the rural areas than in town. In towns, parents will go to buy. In the rural areas, they will not need to buy.
All right.
So,
well, of course, Dr. I hear you. Now, there is, even as we wind up this discussion, there is some ultimatum, 14 days ultimatum that was issued by KUPET, and of course they narrowed down to a number of issues. One of them, of course, is the infrastructure, lack of insufficient textbook. Of course, they admit that the government is trying, but it's not enough, and they're saying it's never too late to call for crisis meeting. What do you read in this?
Yes, there are KUPET for all the stakeholders, and I think everybody has their right to opinion, but I think it is good to approach this matter soberly. Because it's a matter of touching education and the rights of children.
All right.
To me, the way forward would be, I'm not the government, but for us to continue now succeeding implementing this curriculum, because you say it's a process, I think there must be increased budgetary allocation in the education sector, because I think before then, if you look at the budgetary allocation, it is so much. The land share went to the payment of teacher salaries. Okay. But now there is a need of infrastructure and more learning materials. So to me, there should be more additional budgetary allocation of the same. Textbooks should be made more affordable, both to public institutions and private institutions, because of course in private schools we say, and everybody says, there is no public child or private child. Right. We only have public institutions and private institutions, but all of them they accommodate Kenyan children. Okay. So the textbooks must be made affordable. Arrangements should be done so that even the private institutions are able to get those textbooks from the publishers at affordable cost. Then there is the whole issue about teachers, and I believe that quite a number of teachers are out there. Why can't we be able to do more recruitment of the teachers so that they can be able?
All right. Even as we wind up, let's extend this to Daktari. Daktari, in your own view, do you think is there some legitimacy in all this claim? Is a crisis meeting really necessary?
I would want to believe that a meeting is necessary to bring the stakeholders together and hear the voices, so that now we can be able to address those issues that are coming, which are very pertinent, to ensure now a smooth transition from grade 6 to junior secondary, because those particular voices are indicators that indeed things are not okay on the ground.
All right. Okay, now there is, even as we close it up, your final thought.
Thank you. My final thought is that CBC is a good curriculum for Kenyan children. Let stakeholders continue meeting regularly and assessing the evaluation, the implementation of that that curriculum.
All right.
And let's support it. Let's have a change of attitude and embrace a new curriculum. Let the government allocate more resources to institutions, and also let private institutions also be facilitated in a way so that all Kenyan children are able to get the right education, quality education, and all that.
All right. Daktari, your closing remark.
My closing remarks is that I would want also to say that it's important for us as Kenyans, and especially parents, to also have a positive attitude towards the competence-based curriculum. That is what is happening outside there globally, and because for us to have it, this assessment has been done to show that there was a need. Once we support it, it's good to succeed. 8044 was a good curriculum. We supported it. It served us for 35 years. So that the CBC can also be able to take us to the next level.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for making time. All right.